Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to a video I never thought I'd have to make, but I just, well, you'll see. I saw a video yesterday, day before yesterday now, when you see this video, talking about, again, the combat wheelchair. And some of you know, some of you don't, most of you probably don't. Both my parents contracted polio back at the height of polio, and they lived their whole lives in wheelchairs. And while I never, suffered like they did, I did have almost firsthand experience of what that must have been like compared to anybody else except someone who's suffering through that right now. And I could not, I just couldn't take another moment of the discussion. The idea that in a fantasy game where we all play people that were not heroes, sometimes villains, people who could do phenomenal, magical, astounding acts of heroics, daring deeds, wonderful magics, and go on adventures, to think that running a character confined to a wheelchair is some sort of costume, some sort of a part to play for something other than, what appears to me it's just virtue signaling, or some sort of weird fetish, which I assure you it's not and should not be. My old man had this book, and he picked it up in 1960. It's called What is Cybernetics? And as a young man, he had not given up hope that maybe one day there'd be a cure. There was, but sadly it didn't reverse the effects. Maybe through science, because that's all we've got here in the real world. We don't have the wondrous magics and things that I'll go into later. That maybe one day he'd get to walk again. And I know that if he could have, literally sold his soul to the devil, he would have done so, and my mother too, to walk again. And to think that in a world of make-believe, of magic, and all those things, that a person afflicted with the same similar situation wouldn't move heaven and earth if they could, to reverse that condition, cure light wounds. If it was a physical injury, cure serious wounds. Again, like a third level spell, something relatively easy to obtain, especially in games like 5e and 3.5 and everything that came after AD&D. Hell, even AD&D would have problem solved, right? And if it was a disease, cure disease. Another third level spell, problem solved. Because the reality back in a Middle Ages, medieval world like that, the likelihood that you'd survive that affliction very long was literally not really a chance. But in our fantasy worlds, our Dungeons and Dragons, if you will, there are scores of ways to get around that, to get over that, to never ever want to revel in the disability, to wear it around like a badge of honor. Trust me, you are I don't even have the words for it. It's so shameful and disgusting to think, and mind you, this is for the able bodies out there who want to, role play as someone in a combat wheelchair. You're an absolutely despicable human being and have no idea of the suffering that condition brings about. Not just the physical inabilities. I saw it from a tiny little kid all my life. As soon as I could walk, I was doing things for them that they could not do. Back in the day, they couldn't even reach the stove. Can you imagine that? Or the sink, because homes weren't built like that for people like that. The number of times that I had to watch them suffer through the regular folk looking down on them, There were times where people tried to take us away from our parents, thinking that they didn't deserve to be parents. And my thoughts on that are mixed because of my brother and how he turned out. But again, had they the ability to rectify the situation in any way, shape, or form, they would have done so. And to think that in a D&D world that the character afflicted with such a situation wouldn't be able to find some way out of it and to go and lead a normal life, there's no excuse for that. And of course, folks, if you actually have that situation in your life, trust me, I have an idea. More than anybody you probably ever met. I went through my whole lifetime watching it and witnessing how the rest of the world behaved and how difficult it was for them and all the things that they missed out on and all the things they couldn't do and enjoy. The times we went to Disneyland and they just watched us, get to do all the fun stuff while they were just there to make sure nobody, walked off with us, kind of thing. I really do feel for you, but like I said a minute ago, we play characters that we're not, and don't drag that real world into the game. If you want to play someone who could run and skip and jump and do all that stuff, and anybody ever looks down on you for that, your old buddy Shadow here, he gets it. Everybody knows who knows me. I don't drive, and I'm scared to death of being in an airplane. But you know what? Anytime I'm in a sci-fi game, guess who's the pilot? This guy. Okay? Nobody would make fun of me for running a character who could drive a car. I don't know how to drive. I mean, I know how to drive a car, but I've never had a driver's license because of seizures. But you don't need to know all that crap. Just know that your buddy Shadow here, I play all kinds of characters that are nothing like me, because that's what the game's all about. You're one, maybe you're one. I mean, I pray that someday you get out of that situation, whether it's by cybernetics or science or something. Just oh my God, it is such a rough subject and topic. Don't ever feel like you need to play someone who's just like you because you have that let's face it, relatively rare situation. Play whoever the hell you want. You want to play the big strong guy, freaking the speedster in a superhero game, God bless you. I wish people weren't parading this virtue signal around like it's some sort of skin suit or some sort of costume for a fancy dress party. It's absolutely awful, and much shame should be brought down on the heads of the people that want to make this some sort of fetish. That's really what comes to mind. Is, trust me, I've seen plenty to make me think that's what's going on with those people. Play a freaking dwarf or a half orc, for Christ's sake. If you need that kind of sympathy, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you need it in the game, what you need is therapy from a licensed therapist, and I pray you go get it before you make a bigger fool of yourself. That's what I've got for you this morning. I know this video isn't for everybody, and I expect to get all kinds of hate from a whole bunch of people, or no one will watch this video like always, and I'll just move along with my day, which will be second breakfast in about 45 minutes. I love you guys, each and every one of you. Thanks for sticking around all these years. I will see you for second breakfast. Morning reprobates, come on, pile in, let's have some fun. I'll see you in a little while. Until then, happy trails.